So I've been watching Rings of Power because, I like fantasy. I like Tolkien. And I think it's pretty good. The people's complaints that I've seen are, for the most part, pretty stupid. The thing is, like, I've obviously seen complaints about like the casting and such. Those are the dumbest ones. But the ones that I thought were really funny to me were the complaints that said that it's moving too slow. Because I don't know if you've ever read anything that Tolkien has ever wrote at all, ever. But fucking slow is the name of the game. Especially the Silmarillion. You gotta, like... A lot of people have to force themselves to get through it. It doesn't read like a novel. It's not fucking Tom Clancy. And that's not an elitist position either. Tolkien was not a novelist. He wasn't a creative writer. Tolkien was an academic writer, and his works read like academic works. They read like translations of religious texts and like textbooks, right? And the depth of the world that he created has led a lot of people, like him anyway. But if you're anything like most of the people I tried to get to read the books in high school, they're a little dense and slow. If you think of like the Silmarillion, if you've read it, think of like the first, 8-10 hours of reading it. The first time you read it, did you have any idea what was going on? Because it's like those parts in the Bible where they talk about everybody like descending from anyone else. It'd be like, oh, and then who's his face rebelled against what's her name, and they became elves that love the sea, and then never fucking mention them again, right? It's bananas. But Rings of Power it's an entertaining watch. But one thing I noticed in the online discourse about it that's not a complaint, just something that's going around about it a lot, is a lot of people trying to figure out which character is Sauron. And that so I developed my own theory here. So the first character that some people were thinking is he's being referred to mostly as the Stranger. He's super tall, right? And he has landed near a group of proto-hobbits that he fell down to earth like a shooting star and was in a crater full of cold fire, not hot to the touch. So they were thinking, well, this guy, he could be like a Maiar, right? And have his memory lost. And I can get why people would think that, because obviously, like, the dude is magic. He's powerful, right? It would be an interesting narrative twist if these, good people are helping a guy and they think that he's going to be good too, and we think he's going to be good, and then it turns out that he is like the most evil thing in the land. But I don't think that the amnesia angle is what they're going to go with for it, and I don't think it's going to be him. Now I'm wondering if he is some type of Maiar or something that maybe we just haven't heard about in the lore yet. It would have been like for the people who aren't super up on the lore, it'd be sort of like if Gandalf had a cousin, right? But that's the thing, is like Gandalf still has like a few generations before he should be showing up, right? Because Gandalf and Sauron and Radagast and the Blue Wizards, they all were sent to Middle-earth in reaction to Sauron creating and distributing the rings. So if they were sent in reaction to that, he hasn't done that yet, which means it can't be them. So if it's not the stranger, another guy that people have in the running here, old Brawny Boy, he's a sailor. He's not really a sailor. He was a shipwrecked guy, and when Galadriel jumped off the boat instead of going into elf heaven, he eventually ended up saving her. They became companions. She has supposed, and this is the thing that I need to, it's interesting to me. So she analyzed him and where he's from and everything, and she came to the conclusion that he is a king either in exile or just who has, for all intents and purposes, abdicated. He's a king who's not on his throne, but he's the king of the southern men, right? Now, I found it interesting that he never really confirmed that. She said it, and she treated it like truth afterward. He sort of like half-heartedly denied it, but he never confirmed it either. He just is a guy. He's from the southern lands, which is where Sauron has been mounting his forces, where Sauron has been gathering the surviving orcs to create an army, right? And some people have sort of drawn on that, and on the fact that this dude is like a master smith, right? He's super fucking good at working a forge. And, well, you know, Sauron also was. That's the whole idea. He made the rings, right? Because he's super good at it. Like, heavenly tier. So, yeah. People are also doing now, there's some argument, some debate on whether, like, he's got an amnesia situation going on, like with the stranger, and he thinks he's just a guy, or whether this whole king of the southern lands is like he's King Sauron and he's trying to return home but isn't at his full strength yet. I don't really buy that either, and here's why. It would be just too easy, right? And I firmly believe he's going to end up being maybe like the king who betrays Isildur and doesn't bring his forces down, and they became the ghosts that live in the mountain until Aragorn makes them fulfill their oath. Like, I'm super down with that theory, because he is really reluctant to get involved in everything. And I could see him, you know, he builds a kingdom, he wins some victories, and I could see him just being like scared to lose it all, this thing that he didn't even want. Like, from a narrative perspective, I think that could work out really well. But for him being Sauron, there's a lot that's been telegraphed with it, and I think it would just be too easy for them to go that route, right? This is literally like the most expensive TV show ever produced. So I would feel embarrassed for them if they were taking the easy way out on the story after investing that kind of money. But I could be wrong. You never know. Sometimes people like a simple thing. My personal theory on who Sauron is, and this is kind of a controversial one, I guess, is that he's nobody in the show. My theory is that Sauron is not in there at all. That he is doing his thing, gathering up orcs, and maybe by the end of the first season we'll get some hint that he's around, that he's building his strength. But as far as I'm concerned, none of these characters that we've met are Sauron, and he's not like in hiding in another form. He is building his army exactly as they thought. They just didn't know where, and now he's got a place to do it. Let me know what you think. If you're watching Rings of Power, I'm not a big fan of negativity with shows like this. If your only response is that the show is woke, leftist garbage, then just you can fuck off. I don't want to have a conversation with you, because invariably, woke ends up meaning black people exist, or hey, gay people exist. If somebody's existence is not an agenda, and even casting them in a production isn't an agenda. Blackula came out like 50 years ago and was one of the best Dracula stories ever told. Anyway, that's not the topic of this video. Is your comments on Rings of Power. I'd love to hear what any of you think about it. And you can like, share, and subscribe. And it's October. October was the date I gave previously for getting the revamped Patreon up and running. So if you want to go check that out, it's not quite there yet. It's still the beginning of the month. But I've redone the tiers, and I've got a little bit of exclusive content up there already. So if you wanted to go and give that a look, go for it. Of course, I also I've already said I'm very bad at charging for content. I'm not skilled at that part of internet business. So if you don't want to give me any money, that's cool too. All of my stuff is really still available for free. Even Patreon exclusive stuff can usually be found, just maybe sometimes a little bit later. So I don't know, I was getting a little off topic here. Like, share, subscribe, do all the regular YouTube stuff. Tell your friends about it. Keep watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will be signing out now. See you next time from the fabulous 2004 Honda Civic Studios, and I'll talk to you later.